goddamn rich.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Getting fucking rich. I want my fucking money. Griffin, I want my fucking money. Yo, motherfucker. Holy shit, we're gonna be so fucking rich. Damn it, we're gonna be so fucking rich. Griffin, I want my fucking money.
You're an original,
Hey,
aren't
yelling,
you?
give me the fucking money. Get the goddamn money printer out.
Great. Bounty cutter.
We're gonna be so fucking rich. Get the goddamn money printer out. All right, boys and girls. If you're new to the channel, we cover macroeconomics and geopolitics and their effects on global financial markets, especially heavily shorted equities like meme stocks and precious metals. Not to mention the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the remaining equities markets out there. Check this out. This is going to be a video some of you have seen before, but I guarantee you there's a lot of information here that you guys have not seen before from J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and others on his administration, including former Overstock CEO Patrick Burns, and the fact that these guys are all working together to take out market manipulation. They are going to, excuse my French, fuck the shorts. Now, check this out. This isn't the first time Donald Trump has come out and said, Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. Maybe as if Donald Trump has been well aware of what's going on with him for a long time. Don't forget, we're going to talk about DJT stock and Tesla as well.
Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where are you, Ken? Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. Look, he doesn't want to stand up. Where the hell is Ken? See, Steve, you'll stand, and he's very quiet about it. He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand. Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where are you, Ken? Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. Look, he doesn't want to stand up. Where the hell is Ken? See, Steve, you'll stand, and he's very quiet about it. He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand.
He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand up. So J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are taking on Wall Street. Vance has said, President Trump's vision is so simple yet so powerful. We're done, ladies and gentlemen, catering to Wall Street. We are committed to the working man. Not to mention, J.D. Vance issued a letter to the Securities Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler regarding MMTLP, which allegedly has hundreds of millions of counterfeit shares. You guys know, if you've been watching this channel, we've been covering MMTLP for a significantly long period of time, even before it was delisted, and we were trying to warn people, because we care, that there's going to be some fuckery happening here with this stock, because it was never really meant to be a stock in the first place. Market makers used a loophole in order to create trading on a derivative, basically, of MMAT that should never have been traded. And you can see here that J.D. Vance and Mike Crapo, two United States senators, were the only ones with the integrity to actually reach out to Chair Gensler in September of 2023 in regards to MMTLP shares and the fact that they began trading via a loophole on the OTC market in 2021. And in 2022, the SEC basically approved the spinoff of MMAT into a new company, NextBridge Hydrocarbons. And on December 9th, FINRA issued a trading halt on the company's stock, preventing shareholders from making further trades, which meant a lot of people were unable to sell their positions. And this was done basically a day before it should have been done, right? Technically 3 days, but weekends, Saturday and Sunday, don't count as business days. So that's why I say a day before, because December 10th and 11th were a Saturday and a Sunday. So they really got screwed there by the same market makers and other people that were colluding in order to prevent them from having to close their short positions. So J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are well aware of what's going on here. And Donald Trump even commented against Ken Griffin. Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. It looks like he doesn't want to stand up. Where the hell is Ken? And even more recently, earlier this year, Devin Nunes, the former California governor and current CEO of Donald Trump Media Group, DJT, is investigating market manipulations and wrote a letter to the NASDAQ, the Securities Exchange Commission, Congress, attorney generals, and the Department of Justice regarding naked shorting. Nunes said, "You, Ken Griffin, aren't going to screw with us, and we are going to come after you." And of course, Ken Griffin, being the class act that he is, said, "Devin Nunes is the proverbial loser who tries to blame naked short selling for his falling stock price. If he worked for Citadel Securities, we would fire him, as ability and integrity are at the center of everything we do." Now that's an absolutely laughable statement, if any of you know what's going on there with naked shorting and the manipulation in financial markets. The fact is that when Donald Trump takes office, he and his administration are going to tackle the white-collar crimes on Wall Street that negatively affect you and I and everyone else in the 99%. This will help eliminate synthetic shares and naked shorting that is currently occurring in U.S. financial markets. And I've got more details on that here coming shortly. But again, we need all the help we can get in the world to combat naked shorting, dark pools, manipulation, and the creation of synthetic shares by market-making broker-dealers. And we've been doing that exact thing for the last 38 months now with the creation of a new upcoming stock and crypto brokerage called Lit Exchange. This is the first time in the history of the world that any company has actually given retail investors the opportunity to own equity shares of stock in a private company before we launch and before our eventual IPO. This gives people a significant leg up over those who will not be able to get their hands on it until the IPO. This, of course, is via Regulation C offering through Donald Trump's Job Act. So again, this is the first time in history that that's ever happened. So make sure you click the link on the side there and you guys can actually learn more. DJT shorts have lost massively in the last few weeks. As a matter of fact, over $400 million has been lost by shorts against Donald J. Trump's stock in the last 6 weeks coming up to the election. Now that the election has occurred, so far they're in the hole almost $500 million. $500 million, I said, with a B, as in Bedpost, which is Ken Griffin's middle name. Kenneth Cordell Bedpost Griffin. Why do we call him that? Well, because his wife alleged during their divorce proceedings that when she told Ken that she wanted a divorce, that he threw a fucking bedpost at her head. That's the class act we're dealing with here. So thankfully, J.D. Vance and crew have come out and actually tried to help the 65,000 MMTLP investors who have had their assets frozen for over 700 days now in MMTLP, as FINRA basically sided with the shorts and didn't allow them to sell their positions because the shorts were set to be squeezed. And of course, I read this to you already as to what he said, but literally the fact remains that Donald Trump is the only person with the balls, especially the only president who's ever had the balls to call out market manipulation from Ken Griffin of Citadel. Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy was exposed recently for taking incredibly massive donations from Citadel CEO Ken Griffin. And in late 2022, Kenneth Cordell Bedpost Griffin said that the GOP needs to, quote, move on from Donald Trump. Everybody knows that, of course, that was way before Donald Trump did what he did in winning the Electoral College, the popular vote, and the vast majority of American voters. Ken Griffin and Rhino Speaker Kevin McCarthy. For those of you that don't know what Rhino means, it stands for Republican in name only. Because Kevin McCarthy is not a Republican. He just wears the clothing of one. They were working together to defeat Donald Trump, and they failed. The Soros failed. The Rothschilds failed. The WEF and the Schwabs of the world have failed, and the globalists failed. This means that America wins, and retail investors are poised to make out like bandits. However, we're not bandits. Retail investors are following the letter of the law and doing everything within their power to make sure that we stay on the right side of history. Former Overstock CEO Patrick Burns has been speaking with Donald Trump's administration for an extended period of time now, and they are going to work together to end financial market manipulation via illegal naked shorting. They will clean up the corruption in financial markets. And you have seen here that Truth Social and the CEO Devin Nunes have come out and said, rather than support our common sense efforts to promote transparency and compliance, Citadel Securities bizarrely targeted our CEO with an unhinged attack. Here's our response. Citadel Securities, a corporate behemoth that has been fined and censured for an incredibly wide range of offenses, including issues related to naked short selling, and is world famous for screwing over everyday retail investors at the behest of other corporations, is the last company on earth that should lecture anyone on integrity. And they make a great fucking point. Even Elon Musk came out today. This tweet just came out today, November 7th, and said, justice prevails. Meanwhile, none of the many short sellers who egregiously manipulated Tesla stock for years and lied repeatedly on TV have been prosecuted. Not one. And thankfully, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a jury verdict clearing Elon Musk of all allegations of having misled investors with a tweet from 2018 saying funding secured for taking Tesla private. This bullshit case over the last 6 years is finally put to bed. And that is another win for Elon Musk and another loss for the short sellers. Not to mention, they're about to take massive losses on DJT stock, not just financially, but also physically. Before I talk about UBS, Credit Suisse, AMC, and GameStop, and further depth, silver and gold, here you see franknez.com. Trump media short sellers have lost a whopping $420 million, according to fresh data from S3 Partners, after a historic comeback victory. Not to mention, DJT stock was massively shorted via puts the last 2 times that they attempted to assassinate him. And of course, both assassination attempts happened on a Sunday, and massive short positions to the tune of millions and millions of dollars were taken out against DJT stock the Friday before. What a coincidence. According to a report from financial analytics firm S3 Partners, Investors who have bet against Trump Media and Technology Group have lost a whopping $420 million since the stock began reflecting Donald Trump's election odds. DJT stock is up 170% in the last 6 weeks alone as these shorts get creamed. Now, UBS is massively fucked due to their ownership of the failed Swiss bank, Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse, of course, went insolvent due to the bankruptcy and over-leveraging of Archegos, the family office that bought way too many short positions in the form of leveraged swaps against GameStop and AMC. In my opinion, a large majority of those swaps remain open. Those swaps took out Archegos, they took out Credit Suisse, and now they're on the verge of taking out UBS. Hence why the Swiss Central Bank is now calling up for even further shoring of the positions and the cash held by UBS Bank. AMC and GameStop investors, as well as silver, gold, DJT stock, MMAT, MMTLP, and other heavily shorted equities investors need to remember, Credit Suisse didn't report any short positions from February of 2015 through April of 2022. That is a 7-year period in which no short positions at all were reported by Credit Suisse. Now, UBS is stuck with those legacy costs from Credit Suisse and Archegos. Blackstone is a fund that recently closed, which offered investors exposure to a range of hedge funds, including Citadel Securities, after the fund's assets fell nearly 90% in the last 4 years. Tiger Capital also went insolvent, shorting AMC and GameStop. Melvin Capital's Gabe Plotkin admitted to closing their meme stock position for a loss, was forced to close down and become a lowly family office for their short positions on GameStop and AMC. Jim Chano's hedge fund is also shut down now after shorting AMC and Tesla stock. O'Day Asset Management shut down. BHS Advisors hedge fund shuttered. Brahman Capital closed their hedge fund after more than 3 decades due to their short positions on AMC and GameStop. Former Point72 employees Chris and Kevin had shuttered their stocks, which were their stock-focused hedge funds after nearly 6 years due to short positions on, take a guess. Yes, AMC and GameStop. The long Jim Cramer ETF closed in August of last year. Meanwhile, the inverse Cramer ETF, SGIM, continues to chug along very successfully. Why? Because he's a hedge fund shill that works for CNBC. Hedge fund White Square Capital closed following double-digit percentage losses from a bet against these meme stocks. Citron, Candlestick, D1 Capital, Maple Lane, Light Street, all went insolvent or shuttered due to their shorts on AMC and GameStop. And Citron Research, as a matter of fact, and their CEO, Andrew Left, is facing 370 years in federal fuck-me-in-the-ass prison for his market manipulation and illegal shorting of GameStop and AMC. This just happened, by the way. He was just arrested a few months ago and is currently facing federal prison, 370 years. Meanwhile, he's rolling over on all of his partners there that also worked with him to illegally manipulate markets. Well, you get the idea, right? Shorts can't close their positions without causing skyrocketing price action. Closing would mean buying hundreds of millions, in fact, billions of shares of the underlying assets, many of which I just named. They can't fucking close their positions. Don't you understand? The reason that all of this is still going on now for multitudes of years is because they can't fucking close their positions. If they could, they would have taken their profits and moved on. But if one firm does it, well, this price starts to skyrocket as shares are bought up and returned. And with 90% of all shares of AMC stock and a significant percentage of GameStop shares as well being held by retail investors, many of which are DRS'd and stuck in limbo also, shorts just don't have a way to close out and all get out together. So many of them are stuck buying up positions of companies like Melvin Capital. Meanwhile, others are shutting down left and right. Here's the FINRA, basically the FINRA regulations here and the fine and censure against Credit Suisse, stating that they failed to report short sale transactions to the TRF and over-the-counter reporting facility, and they did so without short sale indicators in violation of FINRA rules. And they also failed to establish and maintain procedures and supervisory systems designed to comply with FINRA rules and regulations regarding trading reporting of short sales, meaning they cooked the fucking books. If we had cooked the books, we would be the ones in federal prison. But of course, big banks can do it and nothing happens. So now you guys see why dark pools and market manipulation and naked shorting are such a problem. If you're beginning to understand that, click that link on the side for Lit Exchange, because it is a big fucking deal. And these guys aren't going to close their positions on their own. You guys need to do it. You guys need to force them to do it. And the only way they're going to do it, the only way you're going to force them to do it is by actually using an upcoming stock and crypto brokerage that routes your orders to lit markets, that doesn't send your shares and your orders to wholesalers using payment for order flow, so that those wholesalers like Citadel and Virtue can front run your trades and trade against you and profit off of the spread and manipulate your orders and shove them into dark pools, holding them for up to 28 days and then failing to deliver on the stock anyway.
Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is. Where are you, Ken? Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money. Look, he doesn't want to stand up. Where the hell is Ken? See, Steve, you'll stand, and he's very quiet about it. He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand. Ken Griffin, Citadel, what a guy he is.
What a guy. Kenneth
He's
Cordell,
trying to
Bedpost
hide
Griffin.
some of his money. Look, he doesn't want to stand up.
So I think you get the point, ladies and gentlemen. We are 90% of the way to our goal with Lit Exchange. And to meet our goal here on the FINRA-approved funding portal on our website, you can also see our SEC Edgar filings on the SEC Edgar website. On the FINRA-approved funding portal, Silicon Prairie, you will see that we are 90% of the way to our goal of 500K. There are over 200 investors that are currently invested in the company already, and you will find our filings and our offerings available on the SEC Edgar website for further review. Long story short, well, Elon Musk said it best.
I want to be clear, I do not respect the SEC.
We made the decision in the morning to limit the buying of about 13 securities on our platform. So we're really in unprecedented times. In order to protect the firm, we had to limit buying.
That markets are efficient because of active managers setting the prices of securities. Firms like Citadel, we're all running large teams of people that are engaged in fundamental research, trying to drive the value of companies towards where we think they should be valued.
Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, he's been charged by US courts and the SEC with money laundering, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and securities fraud for the collapse of FTX. The former chairman of NASDAQ, Bernie Madoff, built the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Over 4 decades, he faked records of annual gains to investors who thought he was investing their funds, when in fact, he was just using new investor capital to pay off older investors.
But the synthetic shorting and naked shorting, which is illegal, market maker can execute naked shorts insofar as they're facilitating a trade. The regulators are looking at that now as to whether or not there was this naked shorting by the market makers on behalf of the hedge funds in order to facilitate the shorts. And I think they're going to uncover that there were some issues there. But the penalty for naked shorting is really not significant enough to stop it. Citadel and Goldman and all of the players get fined constantly for doing this.
Hedge funds and other Wall Street firms have teams of analysts working together to compile research and analyze shares of companies. Individual investors do not have those resources.
I basically would like to ask the SEC why they didn't act on the morning of January 28th, because I was so scared. I can't tell you how scared I was. I was so scared. I can't tell you how scared I was.
Well, Thomas, what were you scared about? What does failure look like? You said we came close to breaking. What were you scared of?
I was scared of a domino bankruptcy. I tell you, the rules require the long brokers to go into the market and buy the shares at whatever price. So that drove the shares up to $480, and then suddenly it didn't go further, but it could have gone further.
So buying and selling those 200 shares would make the market maker $1. But as millions of shares are traded, the profits from the spread add up. In 2020, these brokerages collected almost $2.6 billion in payments for stock and option orders.
These brokers, including Interactive Brokers and Robinhood, that generate revenue from selling the order flow to market makers.
Business has always been done like this on Wall Street for over 100 years.
Our orders compete against each other to get the best prices. But if the order instead is routed to a wholesaler that has agreed to pay for it, the order is not going to an exchange and is not necessarily receiving the benefit of that broader competition.
Dark
As you
pools.
mentioned about commission or zero commission. Zero commission does not mean it's free. It does have some cost inside. Some brokers have payment for order flow.
Disclosure alone, by enhancing the disclosure around payment for order flow, really will address it. United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, all have banned payment for order flow. I know we have different markets, different systems. We even have letters that we've gotten over the years, dating back over the last 20 years, articulating why it's not good for our system. So I really ask staff to consider that, but also to consider it only in the context of the entire market structure.
On January 28th, our daily deposit requirement was 10 times more than on January 25th. As a result, Robinhood Securities imposed temporary trading restrictions on certain securities. Robinhood Securities put the restrictions in place in an effort to meet increased regulatory deposit requirements.
The decision to restrict trading really was internal to Robinhood. We did not have discussions about that.
Like GameStop, AMC, all these meme stocks have brought naked short selling really to the forefront of the market's interest. This is something that's going on for a very long time in a small cap market and is very much a problem.
Has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you've received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Those are fully collateralized tokens.
The markets are efficient because of active managers setting the prices of securities.
The order is not going to an exchange and is not necessarily receiving the benefit of that broader competition.
You may not like Gary Gensler, but he literally just told you that commission-free does not mean your trades are actually free. He told you guys that your orders going to wholesalers means they're not going to the lit exchanges. He told you your orders are being manipulated in dark pools. They're being internalized by wholesalers like Citadel and Virtue when you trade on companies like Schwab, Robinhood, Webull, IBKR, E-Trade, and practically every other fucking brokerage firm. As a matter of fact, every other fucking brokerage firm. Why can Lit Exchange do something different? Because we're not greedy pricks that are out to make every last fraction of a penny. Because we can actually route orders to lit markets without having to worry about that 0.0001 cents on every fucking order. Because it's not about maximizing profits. It's about doing the right thing. It's about getting naked shorts and synthetic shares and phantom shares out of financial markets. Because that's what retail needs. This is the only stock and crypto brokerage ever created for retail, by retail, and the first and only stock and crypto brokerage in the history of the world to give you the opportunity ever to own equity stock ownership in the company in the form of shares before launch and before IPO via a Regulation C offering through Donald Trump's very own Jobs Act. Go check out Lit Exchange. Charles says, I tried to sell back in 2021 and my trade was rejected by Robinhood when it was in sell only. So thank you, Charles. It's great to know that, my friend. And thank you, Ruckster, as well. Much love to you guys. It was literally position sell only because they took away the buy button and you still couldn't sell. So what the fuck good does it do to have these brokerages if every time you're poised to make a significant amount of money, you can't log in, you can't sell your shares, You can't buy more shares. You can't really do anything because they're going to let the hedge funds do it. Anyway, on that one, I want to say a huge shout out to all the channel supporters, all of Lit Exchange founding members, all 200 plus of you so far that are invested in the company. And we look forward, keep in mind, all of this that you're seeing right here has been done without spending a single penny on advertising. It is all organic from intelligent retail investors like you that had the foresight to go out and do your own research and look into companies and figure out ways to be profitable and make money before everyone else. Retail investors in these kind of stocks have consistently been ahead of the curve. And that is exactly what's going on now. Cheers, my friends. We are 90% of the way to the goal. Feel free to jump in and make a pledge and an investment in Lit Exchange if you can afford to do so. All of the information is up there for you to do your due diligence on the company. Audited financials, pitch decks, business plans, executive summaries, independent auditors report, memorandums, offering memorandums, subscription agreements, etc. That being said, I wish you peace and wealth, my friends. We're going to be filthy, fucking rich.
He's in here someplace. He just doesn't want to stand. Ken Griffin, Citadel. What a guy he is. Where are you, Ken? Where the hell is he? He's trying to hide some of his money.
Remember, precious metals are the absolute best hedge against inflation. And if you want my opinion, the only reason that silver and gold are down a little bit right now, right? There's still, gold is nearly at all-time highs. Silver is right around $30 an ounce, which 2 years ago, if you're watching this channel, when it was at $17 an ounce, I was telling you guys this shit's going to double really quick. And they have outpaced the growth in the S&P 500 significantly since then, and even year to date as well. The only reason that they're currently down a little bit in value from where they were before the election was because big banks, central banks, and markets are understanding of the fact that Donald Trump is going to decrease inflation, that with the help of Elon Musk and everyone else on his team, they are going to decrease government spending. And even though that will decrease the GDP of the United States in the short term, because government spending makes up a vast portion of GDP in the moment, it will reduce inflation and help out, greatly benefiting the middle class, those in the bottom 90%. Not to mention, the top 10% will also be helped out because they will have more employees, they will have more people buying their products. So in reality, it helps out everybody, the poor, the middle class, and the rich. So that is, in my opinion, the only reason gold and silver have come down in price. And I'm looking forward to gold and silver coming down in price a little bit more so that I can buy a significantly larger amounts of actual physical precious metals. Cheers, my friends. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. We're going to be so fucking rich.